be live momentarily. Oh.
Oh my. Oh, hello there. Let's just all pretend this isn't the second take of this skit. Let's just all pretend we're doing this for the very first time. But my, oh my, where are my manners? Ladies and gentlemen, buenos días, buenas noches, buena cuando sea. Welcome to La Esquina. And my name is really very simple, just a few syllables. I am Daniel Jose Gastambide Núñez Arriaga Costa Suarez Ceja Bird. Like the drink, but you can call me D-Bird, and I am your backup host for this evening. Our host for this evening unfortunately had an emergency come up, and I am standing in at the very last minute, completely unprepared, filled with alcohol to manage my underlying anxiety, but still, the show must go on. Ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause for each and every one of you for joining us this evening. Flip your fingers, applaud the hands, shake your tushy, and celebrate each and every one of you for a very special La Esquina. Join tonight our special feature, Madame Seajoy Adams, who will be joining us shortly to take center stage. But for now, I would like to pass it on to the cacique of cacique, the Lord of the Aguacate. Ladies and gentlemen, a few words from our Generalissimo Mario Ponce, Pagan Morales, y otras hierbas.
It's never a dull moment with the Títere Poets. Whoever tells you that is a liar, absolute liar. I just wanted to take a second and to say thank you to everybody who is joining us tonight. It is always a pleasure. It's the highlight of my month. I look forward to meeting up with folks and sharing the spoken word and just catching up and, you know, having a good time. But I think that I also want to just say a few words. It is February. It is National Black History Month. I'm sure we all agree that we don't need a month. It should be all year round. Black history is not just American history, but world history. You know, Black stories are essential. Black art is essential. So we want to take a second to celebrate the contributions of our Black brothers and sisters. We want to honor them and the legacy that they have laid for us and the legacy that they continue to put forth. And as poets, you know, we know how powerful poetry is and how powerful the written word is. So thank you to them for the contribution to the art that we love. And if I may just say thank you to Joy for joining us. Gabriel, saludo, and you know, hoping everything's okay with you. But I just want to start with Nikki Giovanni poem that I was thinking about this morning, called Black History Month. If Black History Month is not viable, then wind does not carry the seeds and drop them on the fertile ground. Rain does not dampen the land and encourage the seeds to root. Sun does not warm the earth and kiss the seedlings and tell them plain, you're as good as anybody else. You've got a place here too. So mi gente, gracias por venir. Thank you for coming. Bring your hearts, bring your peace, and looking forward to hearing everyone's pieces.
Give it up one more time, ladies and gentlemen, for the cacique of caciques, Mario Ponce Pagan Morales. But also, may you have some special news for us tonight as well, oh great cacique.
Oh, I'm drinking wine. Um, it's the house brand, Carlo Rossi, Sangria. No, yeah, I was chit-chatting with catching up with some of the friends in the group. Um, you know, had a little project that took me about 3 years to put out, but my first book should be coming out this spring, and I'm very excited about it. So, thank you to everybody who contributed in any way. So, gracias.
And what's the title of said book? Oh, my delicious cacique.
The title of the book is Receta, as in recipe, but as in receta because it's in Spanish. So, Daniel, can you stop putting me on the spot?
Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. As somebody who had to suffer through the editorial process of that book, do not tempt me, sir. But we look forward to seeing it come out at Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Tu Abuela's Cocina, everywhere where amazing books are sold, lent, and put on lease. So, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, give it up for our newly crowned community author, Mario Ponce Pagan Morales. And without further ado, let's get this show on the road. I am pleased, I say, to welcome to the mic someone whose name I find incredibly fascinating, but also challenging because I wasn't that good at mathematics or algebra. Ladies and gentlemen, starting us off on the mic, mathematics.
Gosh, you threw me out there first. Well, right on. Let's go. Okay, I have 3 pieces. Thinking about Black History Month, but then again, thinking about every day. This is titled A Life-Threatening Experience. Living Black in this America is a life-threatening experience that can happen to anyone that is Black, has red blood, that is Black, has Black friends, that is Black, has white friends, that is Black, has no friends, that is Black, not even Black. Black is brown, living Black in this America. A life-threatening experience for brown too. Protest for justice is a life-threatening experience if you are Black or brown in this America. Protest a lie is a get home safe pardon if you support white supremacy in this America. Protest for justice is a life-threatening experience if you Black or brown in this America. Protest for justice, protest for peace, protest a lie, protest a liar. Living Black is an act of resistance. Melanin in your face, melanin in your soul is a life-threatening experience in this America. Next piece. Wrinkles around the edges. Contraction is not shrinkage. It is expansion inwards towards growth. Explain the wrinkles around the edges. Used to be stretch marks. Could call them scars. What happens when growth wants to expand too fast? Some lessons need to cut their way in. Skin becomes a membrane, stretched like a beaver dam between verses and universes. Some sky seeps through. Light can't resist shining. Light can't resist being seen. Even a flash can't be unseen. Wisdom and love live in the light that lives in me. Last piece. Verses beneath my skin. A moment in time is an ocean. I am a tear. Someday you may look down, see the elephant crawl through the fence in the palm of your hand. The weight of a pause collects a beat of silence, waiting to stop full before I reverse the field. I step out of my face to look behind the mirror. I discover a galaxy beneath my skin. My inward-facing telescope peers over the edge. We exchange internal flames to enlighten the abyss. Concrete softens, hearts melt, molten soul evaporates off a parched desert. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up one more time for Maestro Mathematics. I've never been so excited for algebra, Maestro. Never have been until this point in time. You've made me excited to put 2 and 2 together and make 3. Did I get that right?
2 plus 2 is 5, bruh.
What? Facts. Facts. One more time for Maestro Mathematics, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. All right. I am very excited to bring this next poet to the stage. She's full of life and she's mighty fly. Ladies and gentlemen, Fly Vida! Welcome her to the stage.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much. I'm so happy. Hello, hello. I'm so happy to be here. Mathematics, that was dope. Thank you so much for sharing. I want these in print. I will get right to it because, and I will make it brief for now because I'm waiting on a food delivery. So if they call, I need to go to them. But my name is Fly Vida and I want to live the fly life. I don't want to live the high life. I just recently published my book last July, Napkin Notes, Musings from the Bar Stool. I will drop my Instagram. The link for this is in my bio, in my Instagram. I will also copy and paste the link for the book here later on. But in honor of Black History Month, I want to read a little bit out of the book, one piece, and a couple more, and then I'll save the longer piece that's not in the book for later on. Celebration, declaration. Can I claim celebration, liberation in chords and instruments that aren't in my blood? Reggae raised me, and I just want to fet from sun up to sundown. You have no choice but to find joy. What my body would do to move through time and space, how long, how my soul just keeps going. Why, how? Find something new, motivate, liberate. I've seen this single ply napkin so many times in the last some years, but it has never made more sense than to be sitting in this box, making no sense, waiting like the wolf for the perfect moment to revisit existence. Thank you. That is the first piece, and my Irish Catholic mother from Queens raised me on reggae, and I have found so many avenues through that music since, and I am ever so grateful. This book is actually a collection of is a compilation of 2 different collections. On the top left, juxtaposed on the top left, is the poems that were written on the napkins themselves, that were written as I was sitting on the bar stools, waiting for a dance partner that never came. And on the bottom right-hand side are poems that I wrote about the napkins that the poems are written on. And so as you read through this book, you will see where they are juxtaposed on the page and what they're about. And I invite this book is for my audience. It's my debut collection of poetry. My next one will be my introductory, where my reader can meet me as I am. But this collection was for my audience. I invite them to find answers on my page, and I want them to write. And I've been asked a few times if this page was a typo, and it was not, because I want my audience again to write. And so I'm going to read what's on this page. And Black History Month, every month, Women's History Month, every month, Poetry Month, every month. And I want to wrap all those three in La Loba. Reaper writes, I have chosen to travel as the wolf who has left her pack, more to find herself than to lose others. I came to hear the music and see if there was anyone brave enough to extend a hand at the risk of rejection. I need to be surrounded in order to not feel so isolated. But the more I attempt to find relief, the more I find myself more lonely than before. What are you trying to assess me for? Sound waves cancel each other out. Soca and hip hop, there is connection. Salsa. I'm just here for the music. I will use your body for the duration, but I'll be gone when I'm done. And on the next page is Savage. And so I will leave it at that. Thank you again for having me. I will drop links in the chat. And maybe I'll see you later.
Well, maybe I'll see you later. I mean, leaving me wanting more, hungry, thirsty for more poetry. But fine, we have to wait for our food deliveries, our sustenance. Fine, fine. Hopefully, when we do the second round, you'll come back after you eat. Fine, I'm patient. I'll wait. But give it up one more time for Fly Vida. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you so much for honoring us on this mic and leaving us hungry for more Superfly Vida. Next up to the stage, I don't believe I've heard this person recite before at La Esquina, or maybe I missed it because I was probably asleep. But I would like to welcome them nonetheless, so that they may grace us with their words, blow our minds away. I'm setting the stakes pretty high, actually. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite up next to the mic, Kyoko Heshimu. Kyoko, take it away.
Let me just try drop that. Okay, so I'm gonna read two pieces. The first one, in honor of Black History Month, is a response that I have to my eldest daughter. It's called Rising Eyes. I was told, you don't know what it's like to be Black in America. You're light skinned. You don't experience what Black people face. Come now. Are you really going to say that to my face? The hum of ageless banter ricochets off her tongue. Dark and beautiful. I slow count. 1, 2, 3, 4. My eyelids squeezed shut, my brows furrowed with anguish. I rode segregated buses to school as a child, traveled through the frozen zone. I listened to the taunts of nigger fly off their tongue. To some, my shade is not light. To some, my brown is too much sun, the color like dirt to their eyes. My knees buckle beneath me, backache with my breath filled with wheeze. I sit coupled to memories, to the sound of feet pounding on the ground, scurrying across the floor. My flashbacks are learning how to hide in my shy. Head hung low, eyes gazed upon the ground, feet soft as I walk like tiptoed cushions on the ground. My home was hood, their dialogue frowned upon. To my neighbors, I was light-skinned, yes. They mocked my vernacular with put-downs, but I still got followed around inside stores as I paraded through the aisles, hand stroking over the shelves, pockets filled with change. The sound of quarters clicking as my legs brushed one another with each step. But you can fit in spaces others cannot, she says to me. Which spaces are these you refer to? White spaces? My hair has had hands used like bristles, run through the strands to test the kink. Veiled thickness never saved me from their rejection. I listened to small voices surround me, giggling. I've been terrified, my hands clenching the tips of my fingers, digging into the palms of my hands. I've wiped the spit of livid men driving by off my cheeks. As they spewed derogatory words, their hatred clung from years of racist justification. I straightened my back, the vertebrae in my spine curved and hunched over, formed from years of bowing my head down, submissive. My voice soft and pulled back, my shout never released to the air. My timid demeanor given warrant to taunt my skin as high yellow, watered down. This submissive, this suppressive mentality that my Black is deemed only worthy when I suffer is demeaning. You speak as it invalidates my experiences because my Black is also smiles and hugs. It is head nods and pounds. It is song and dark nights with stars. It is stones overturned and steam from my cup. I've been ostracized my entire life for being too light and too Black all this at the same time. Forgive me if I take great offense to this boxing in of how I define myself. I see me. My eyes gloss over the melanin. I never asked to be. And America has labeled me. I am Black. I see me. Why don't you acknowledge me? My narrative hinders what society wants as Black, mixed blood. And every experience I engage in every day is a Black experience, despite you not categorizing it as such. I am still Black. I am Black. I do not need to prove my Black. I live Black every day. Black is not defined by racist interactions. My experience is ensured by the eyes that are viewing me, and yours are condemning me for mine. The next piece I'm going to read is called 5 Minutes. It's also about my kids, but this one is about my younger kids. I have 4, so it's called 5 Minutes. All I need is 5 minutes. Can I get 5 minutes? Yet 5 is narrowed down to none as I slip off the bed, my feet touching the grains in the curl of the rug. My eyes are droopy. The bags under my eyes are starting to sink into a depression. I pull my tired from my expression and head out into the living space. Wildness is child, and she is rushing to me with hugs I am not yet ready to receive. I just need 5 minutes. She needs immediate attention I have failed to give. The thuds of her heavy foot, 2 mismatched shoes as she swirls around in the space between us and the couch. I am her barrier, the cans and cannots. I am tired and just need 5 minutes to listen to my breath as I inhale the day's to-dos and exhale through my constricted lungs, so tight I feel like I'm always fighting for air. She cries, early morning tears trickling down her face, begging for her mama hugs, while I am exhausted for hours of sleep. One ear towards the sound of kids' resting snores. 5 minutes. I need to gather in the moment of me, so I can clutch to the woman I am outside of mama. Thank you. That's it.
Literally, my mouth is open. Give it up one more time for Kyoko Heshimu.
Bird, if I may,
You may not. No, please.
Kyoko has an art exhibit online. If she wants to speak a little bit on it.
I have an exhibit called Siblings. It's a exhibit on shadow boxes. So they use 10 of the pieces are used making paper, layered paper with LED lights lit behind them, and 17 are layered pieces of plexiglass with using acrylic. They're about siblings, so I just interviewed a lot of families and asked them questions about their interactions. So we can check it out. I put the link in the chat.
Check it out, check it out, check it out. Thank you so much for sharing, Kyoko. And now, next poet to the stage that I'm going to call on for being a total presentao. Give it up one more time. Welcome with warm R's and clasping hands, the cacique of cacique, the Lord of the aguacate. Ladies and gentlemen, Mario Ponce, pagan morals.
That's what I get for jumping in.
You're damn right.
So again, thank you to everybody. So at the end of April, I'm going back to the island, and it's been over 25 years since I've been back home. And it's since the moment I booked the trip, it's been nothing but an emotional roller coaster. And I'm going back with my best friends, which which I'm excited about. So I have two pieces. One is mine, and then I want to share a poem by another poet that I really like. One of the places my wife wants to go is to the beach of my childhood, and I find that so adorable and cute. And it's I'm from Guayanilla, Puerto Rico, and this piece is called Puerta Ventana, actually. Golondrinita, golondrinita, ¿de a dónde acabas de llegar? It's been a while. You me di cuenta that you haven't changed at all. Always a doncel, placid lullabies, emerald body. You have kept me with you. Belleza azul. My soft lips press against your salt. I have always known your mouth. I pray to your body. I ache for. Cover me. Return my heart. Heal la distancia. Forgive me for taking so long. Remember cuando chamaquito I bathed in your rib cage? I learned to hold my breath. You taught me to go with the current, pull me in tight, let me go free. I was never afraid. I asked to pass through your door, climbed upon la ventana. Yaya created un balcón to see the sunset on your breast. I couldn't say goodbye. I never thought leaving was a possibility. So I like sharing other poets' work. This is a poem that I heard a very long time ago by a brother called, and of course I'm gonna forget his name, Anis Morjani. I actually quoted him the other day because I read the poem again and it really hit me hard. And this poem is called For Those Who Can Still Fly in Airplanes. I'm 30 years old and I'm trying to figure out most days what being a man means. I don't drink, fight, or love, but these days I find myself wanting to do all three. And I don't really have a favorite color anymore, but I did when I was a kid. And back then, that color was blue. And back then, I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to be an architect, an artist, a secret agent, a ranger for the wildlife fund, and a hobo. And when I was 6 years old, I used to always throw my clothes into a blue and yellow plastic and vinyl Hot Wheels car carrying suitcase and run away beneath the dining room table. I made out with more girls than I wish I've had, and not nearly as many as I like to. I've fallen in love 4 or 5 times, so I doubt I'm going to try that much more often. And I spend most days making pictures or thinking about making pictures or masturbating or thinking about masturbating, and I dream too much and I don't write enough. And I'm trying to find God everywhere. I'm trying to figure this thing he made called the man. And the television, it tells me that that's bare knuckle bombing. And if I drove a tank or was a movie star, my penis would be huge. And that's what I want because that's what being a man means. Or at least that's what they keep telling me. My pops, he takes care of us. He puts the garbage out twice a week. He drives 45 minutes just to water flowers. I'm sitting on a bus when a 7-year-old boy carrying a book of Robin Hood, he sits down next to me and asks me my name. Anise. That's a nice name. Thank you. What's yours? Quentin. Anise, do you want to read with me? So tell me what my first keep writing. My fingers, they open up like gates when I write, and the wind is swimming in the lake. It lifts bridges with poems and forests grow in my mother's eyes. And I'm looking for God, Quentin. While this world tries to forget you for trying, for Quentin, this world hates your eyes, for they are small and pure. And Quentin, this world hates your fingers, little like the stems of flowers, for not being able to pick up the things you have left behind, simply because you are still learning to do so. I don't drink, fight, or fuck, but these days, Quentin, it's only 2 of those 3 I don't do. And I've fallen in love 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 times, Quentin. So I don't want to, but I still do. And I want to find God in the morning and in the tired hands of dusk, at the mouth of the river and down by its feet. But instead, I drive 60 through residential streets, praying to hit kids so that they may stay forever an angel and stay forever full of night and light and crayons and simple outreach limbs, trying to pick up way too much, way too fast, forgetting what it means to be a person. In a world where egos are measured with tabloids, where automobiles double for morals, where beliefs are like naps and you leave them behind when somebody touches you. And in a place where oil always takes precedence over life. I find myself sitting on a bus watching this small boy float down like fresh water, carrying a book I used to, asking if I want to see what it sees, if only for a little while, and I do. And then ask if I want to give to him what I see, if only for a little while, and I read to him. Then says to me he's going to show me the world, and starts reading the sentences himself, his hands dancing back and forth across the pages, stumbling over words, skipping over lines, because his fingers are moving faster than what they're showing his eyes. And I want to tell him, slow down, Quentin. Slow down, Quentin. So you don't have to touch and go. You can see it all if your fingers whisper on one word. Slow down and hold what you see just a little while longer. For in a world of fast faces, I'm looking for God everywhere, trying to figure out a little better this little thing he's made called a man. Buenas noches.
Give it up one more time for the cacique o caciques, Mario Jose Pagan Morales. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am extremely honored and pleased to bring up this next poet to our virtual mic. I want you to welcome the first of her name, the Bruja of Brujas, the Grand Duchess of Los Sures. Ladies and gentlemen, Madame Isa Guzman.
Hi. Thank you so much. I am doing double duty here, so please forgive me. But again, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for being here. As always, it's always such an amazing thing to see all of you here. I guess in my set, what I wanted to read, because I was initially not planning to read, but I did want to share some links, but I'll read something first. The first thing I wanted to do is read a poem I have written back in 2020. When we talk about Black history, I know we're also talking about, and me as a trans woman, I know that we're also have to give some attention, some shout out, some acknowledgement to our Black trans sisters out there who are struggling and who are fighting the fight and resisting as much as they can. and doing the work for all of us as much as all the work for themselves. Ellie Che was a Black trans woman who fled from the UK. In the UK, they have harsh laws or harsh regulations around transitioning in the first place. So many trans people leave and go elsewhere to try to find an easier path. New York City is one of those paths where here it's much more easier to transition. However, New York, obviously, is a very hard place to live in, considering the rising prices, et cetera, et cetera. So many queer people that find themselves living here find themselves struggling to live here, find themselves struggling to find the treatments that they need to reaffirm their true identities. Ellie Che had unfortunately passed away a couple of months, I believe, after she had fully tried to move here and was struggling as a performance artist and as a poet to make it into the city. So first, I'd like to recite my poem for her. Night for Ellie Che. Ellie Che, April 10th, 1997 to 2020, did not die at the ripe age of 35, but was swept up by Atabe's waves at 23. Do not make me mute you, Mario. Apologies. Let me recite that again. Night for Ellie Che. Ellie Che, April 10th, 1997 to 2020. Did not die at the ripe age of 35, but was swept up by Atabe's waves at 23. Will be embraced by Yemaya on August 31st, who kept the early pearl of her life and made her infinite too soon. While Ellie likely thought about next month's rent, or how much the next procedure would be, or what grief or elation to process as her body changes into herself, and is right now submerged in happenings yesterday. What happened tomorrow? What will happen now? Under and above the night, your face joins the faces of Alexa, a Dustin Parker, a Yampia Roscoe, or Monica Diamond, or Lexi, or Johanna, or Serena, or Leila Sanchez, or Penelope Ramirez, y Nina Pop, y Helly J, or Tony McDabe, or Remy Fells, or Rye Milton, y Janae Thompson, y Selena Reyes Hernandez, y Brian Powers, y Brayla Stone, y Mercy Mack, y Shaki Peters, y Bree Black, y Summer Taylor, y Dior H. Ova, y Keisha Hardy, y all the nameless this year has claimed and will claim. Y Ellie, you own the night in all of its waveform cartilage and dream space light. You own the night knowing thyself, and you are still becoming. You are still becoming. Thank you. I am not going to recite any more poems, but I'm going to mention a link I had recently found. As I had just, as I will be mentioning now, trans people's lives are currently endangered. It seems as if every year more and more trans people face death and violence and horrible laws that go against us, and especially trans women of color. There is a beautiful zine full of poetry and art that I will love to bring everyone's attention to. It is part of the Trans Day of Resilience, part of the Forever Forward Together website. The website is called tdor.co, and they have a beautiful zine currently out called Trans People Exist in the Future. Again, thank you so much, and check out that zine. I will drop the linkages here. I will drop the linkages on the YouTube and on Facebook. And yeah, thank you so much.
Give it up one more time, ladies and gentlemen, for the first of her name, the Bruja of Brujas, the Grand Duchess of Los Sures, Isa Guzman, ladies and gentlemen. Well, thank you for such a powerful piece and spreading the knowledge and raising our consciousness about the needs of all of those across our communities. Thank you so much, sister.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, next up on our mic, I am once again quite pleased and enthused to welcome a individual who one might refer to as a gentleman, sometimes even a scholar, but certainly and unquestionably, profe. Ladies and gentlemen, bring your hands together for Rich Villar. Wait, is he in the bathroom?
Nope, I'm right here. I was muted, but I am no longer muted. Good evening. Pleasure to be here with all of you. And I want to read two as well. First one is mine, and the second one is not. So this first one is called The Orisha of Iron, or How the Horseshoe Came Back to Homeboy. Homeboy did everything he was told to do. He asked which Orisha was the one for iron. He was told it was the same one for war. He took this as a sign. He said some words and danced when no one was looking. He found some beads and started wearing them. He did not make the connection between tricksters and St. Anthony. He listened to Aguanile and was really feeling it. On a dead run, he flung a horseshoe into the Bronx River. He tripped and fell by the bank and swore he heard laughing. It was a sign when the corner boys came to shoot him. There was a reason for the iron he let fly like rain. He was protected by something greater. He had faith in this, even when the police broke down the door and flung his protected ass to the kitchen tile. The Orisha of Iron is in these bars, he said. I will not stay here. And he didn't. But the Orisha of Iron kept him for 15 years anyway. When he came home from upstate, he went back to the river, still wondering where he went wrong. When he got there, an old man in yellow waders plucked an old horseshoe out of the mud. I think you dropped this, my brother, he said. So that's the first one. And I'm gonna finish up with a piece by a poet by the name of Sekou Sundiata. This is a poet that, you know, is sort of central to my own formation as a poet and as a performer as well. So this poem is called A Dream for Aman. This is a poem for his grandson. And, you know, I've had a lot in my head this week, particularly about fathers and sons. And so I wanted to read a little something about a grandfather giving something to his progeny, as it were. A Dream for Aman. I am talking to a boy who is trying to master the art of staying awake, balancing hard facts of daily living against a smooth, cloudless mind in the making. I can tell by the way he suddenly laughs in his sleep, throws up a high five, and signifies his descent into the kingdom of myth, where the world is forming behind his eyes. He points and calls me bird, snow, rain. I tell him I heard half the species of birds in America migrate to the city, that the egrets and ibises favor the water around Rikers Island, that the woodcocks are knocking boots in the Bronx It's a whole way of life. I try to be upfront with the boy, so I admit that I never saw the birds coming. Aside from a few jittery sparrows, I always thought the pigeon should be our official bird for the way it shits on the good, the bad, and the people sitting on the fence. Anyway, I say, the birds probably came here for the same reasons as his great-grandparents, for the nest and the work, for the food and culture. When we go to the park, he will call out sponge for sky and make the sound of sucking wind through a straw to say traffic. I tell him what it was like when he was born. There were so many mornings we awoke to the blessed silence of snow falling on snow. And there were cold rains that rained on days when the snow couldn't make it, like that one faithful soprano that shows up over the Palisades and sits in for the whole galaxy when the moon's period is late and holding back. And now the drought has choked the grass back to dust, and we will have to save water this summer. Yet, just below the dry dirt surface, the soil is still moist from winter. The garlic in backyard Brooklyn is growing well. There are reports that the Samara seeds have come to root. When he falls asleep in the stroller, I put headphones over his ears and play Monk as he dozes, hoping he will dream in ascending intervals and practice his first steps walking unfettered in the space of slumber. I will talk to him over the music. Listen, son. I can't tell one tree from another. I'm only telling you what I've heard. I don't know how the winter snow and rain knew to go deep in the soil and drain out slowly, because the following spring would be dry. And I don't know how those birds know exactly what to do. There's nothing in me to match that. But I do know this native tongue you speak, in which saying is believing. So I tell you now that the earth is made of matter, but the world is made of words. He points at me again and calls me Blue.
Give it up one more time for El Profe, ladies and gentlemen. So excuse me, sir. If we're going to do this, let's all do this together. Yes. Very good. Wow. Va con el dedo todo, cabrón. Diablo, te la comiste, te pasaste. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time. Give it up for Rich Villar. Awesome, fantastic, marvelous, fantabulous. Next up to the mic, I want to give a warm welcome to Luis Cotto. Luis, can you unmute yourself? There you go.
Oh, I got it. I got it.
Yep. You're good.
Good. How you doing? Good evening, everyone. Thank you for this evening. I do always look forward to these nights. It's good to hear so many wonderful writers. It inspires me to continue also to write and do other amazing things like recalling my history, my parents, my grandparents. And I appreciate your input. Believe it or not, it affects my writing. Thank you. I want to share just a little couple of paragraphs about some thoughts that I had, and then the other one is going to be a love poem. Let me start with this. Saying no is uncomfortable conditions or the request to disagreeing is liberation. Wanting to please others rather than yourself appears to call into question the meaning of friendship. In my planetary travel, on many occasions, I've had to examine myself to get a deeper meaning of my existence. Pleased with the choices I've made, which enabled me to arrive at this junction, has satisfied my yearning of life. One does not need to be or to get into others' mind or consciousness in order to understand them. But know yourself first. Then all things will fall in due time at the correct moment and when it is supposed to happen into place. I have learned to separate the negative experiences and convert them into positive ones. There is no magical scrutiny at play here, but assertiveness in believing that you can change and improve by avoiding past mistakes. Each mistake made in our lives was vital to forming our foundation. From inward, you grow outward only after realizing the decisions made, you form to make new paths and the knowledge previously unknown. Keep in mind that out of exploring beyond the reach of the physical, your reality takes on a new meaning. You are not the center of the universe, just a particle of it. Thank you. My second contribution is going to be a short poem called Unchain My Soul. I'm a stand-in, a sap, not the man that took the vows with you. One you can call whenever your desires are not satisfied. The one you can easily arouse without any vacillation. And does all the things you dare not ask your mate. Many times I feel used. My itch for you imprisons me. I am a slave to the secrets we share for many years. Nightly I dream of you, dreading to close my eyes for fear of waking at sunrise and being alone as always. I hate my illusions. Must we continue this? Can we stop? I'm not asking, I'm begging. Unshackle your grip on me. Release me from the weakness. I foolishly call this passion in order to stop imagining no-nos, as if one day you'll be mine. Thank you.
Put up one more time for Luis Cotto, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, brother.
Bro, you are not just a man, nor a myth, but a legend. Thank you so much for gracing our mic. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up one more time. Now, in order to handle a mic of this magnitude, you gotta tap a big man with a lot of strength, amazing vocal cords, and a way around an instrument. Not just a man, an ox. Give it up for a big ox, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Good in here? Thank you for sharing, everybody. I've been appreciating everything I've been hearing. I was gonna do something different as a song. If that's cool, with y'all. Yeah?
Terrible.
Terrible idea. The song's called My Lady, because hip hop a lot of times they say, a lot of ladies that get the songs get demeaned or whatever it may be. I don't know what it's called, but I want to do something real positive for ladies. And this is it. Is it possible I could share my music so I can play it? Or yeah. As far as like sharing the sound of the music here, that's what I can. Because it says the host disabled participant sharing.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't look like we set that up.
Okay. Well, I'll play it in the background. Hopefully, whatever works out. Hope you guys can hear it out. Can you hear the music at all?
Oh, wait. Actually, there you go. You're good now. There you go. You can share the music.
Thank you.
I want to prove it.
Can you guys hear it?
All I've been wanting to do is show you by this and all the other things I've been doing that I really want to be your man, and I want to continue.
Either way, I go by the name of Big Ox. I represent the mighty end of the week, Euro Dub.
I want to prove
And we here. Check it out. Hope you like it.
How you want to do that?
Yo. I'ma prove it to you in my ways and my actions. You know how we do. My passion's everlasting. You're turning me on beyond your physical attractions. Moments at a glance, we made it happen by chance. Working on certain circumstance, unchoreographed, a certain song and dance. Rocking the same rhythms and magnetism. When I talk, you listen, plus you play your position. First time I saw you was more than intuition. I knew deep inside I had to complete my mission to get you by my side so we can ride. So much time goes by that I really have to swallow my pride. We used to get into fights, things need to change. Now we're getting older, hope you ain't playing no games. You touch my life in such a wonderful way. And that's the reason I came here to say, hey, my lady, 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 lady. Keep your head up high, my lady, 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 lady. I'ma always be by your side, my lady, 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 lady. Hey, keep your head up high, my lady, 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 lady. I'ma always be, yo. Times is hard and they only getting harder. You just need to know and understand, I got you. If I got it, it's yours. Matter of fact, it's all that times 4. Do me a favor and don't stress no more. I've been blessed for sure. You're the best, oh Lord. Living up on this land, I've been living up on it seems. So long you got treated so harshly. So this feeling inside really overbecomes me for change. I know I've been a part of it. It's about time that I put my heart in it, or I lose you, or you choose to sell your soul. I know it's not you, it's a direction so many have strolled. And when they talk about it, they say it's like hell in the hole. So stick to your goals. We gonna make it fast and slow. I ain't never letting you go. And to the top is the only place that we're gonna grow. Oh, my lady, 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 lady. Keep your head up high, my lady, 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 lady. I'ma always be by your side. Excuse my singing, lady, 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 lady. Keep your head up high, my lady, 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 lady. I'ma always be by your side. She's my lady, she's my lady, she's my lady. Even though she drives me crazy. The our ladies, the our ladies, the our ladies. You know they gotta have our babies. It's my lady, it's my lady, it's my lady. Even though she drives me crazy. The our ladies, the our ladies. You know why? I love all of them. Yeah. This one goes out for the mothers and sisters, the grandmothers, the aunties, all the ladies in the world. You know what I mean? Anybody mistreated or whatever may be, just understand. I got your back. We should all have their backs forever, man. They're number one assets. You know what I mean? That's all it is, man. I dedicate a song to my mother and my daughter, first and foremost. You know what I mean? And that's it, man. One bless for having me here. I appreciate all the poetry and the beautiful things I've been hearing tonight. Everybody perform. And that's it, man. Hope you appreciated the music. Once again, I go by the name of Big Ox, BIGOX. You can catch me on all streaming platforms. My lady's out now on everything. Check it out, man. Hope you like it. You heard? That's it. Hey. Yeah, that's it. Cool, thank you, and thanks once again for having me, man. Appreciate it a lot.
Thank you so much. I see that our host is trying to set up here for the next portion of the show. But again, thank you so much, Ox. It was amazing. Oh, and we have someone.
You were amazing. Absolutely.
Thank you. Oh. And we may have one more open mic before we go into Mixology Bird. So you know what? I'll take over really quick because I haven't done this in a minute. Hi, everyone. I'd like to bring next to the open mic. Can we please let's hear it for Thomas Connor.
What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Definitely. So I'm just going to spit one piece. It's an oldie, but a goodie. Daydreaming of a midday summer's afternoon. About you, who makes me remember why I even wanted to know what a first kiss was. Our first tryst, love, made our souls dance and twist like the mist in the air that flutters across our faces. Kind of like the wind hummingbirds' wings make when they clasp together like lovers' fingers, clasping around each other's heads, locking together like Nefertiti's dreads. Blowing in the wind like the kisses I blow against your inner thigh. You and I become one, singed, fused, meshed together by passion-driven heat. I'm so deeply addicted to your taste that even pain-riddled my tongue will ache to write our love story in complex hieroglyphics across your navel. While I braille read your caramel-complected skin, Rosetta Stone, translation, you are my forever lover, my forever and a day lover, so allow me to say these words to thee on bended knee. Excuse me, ma'am, can I borrow your lip there to whisper sweet nothings laced infectious sexual undertones? Can I know what it is to taste the scent of your pheromones, intoxicating every structure within my anatomy down to the marrow inside my bones? Damn, baby, maybe to you it's just normal to make a ghetto brother like me act formal, but I couldn't begin to find a way to break your hypnotic grip. I heard you could make a straight woman want to flip. Goddess of 1,000 universes, you could make a sinner speak angelic verses. The worst is I'm the one trapped in your love curses. So if you say so you think, or you say so it seems, I can definitely assure you that these were words for a queen. Peace.
Thank you so much, Thomas. Amazing as always, and we're so happy to have you here. Next up, I would like to reintroduce our host for this evening, doing something special for us and tonight for some fun and in honor of Black History Month. Please welcome back to the stage in another camera, and I'm just gonna say his name that's right here. Please welcome Mixology Bird.
Well, hello again, friends. Welcome to camera 2, also set up in my minibar at home. I'd like to do something special for all of you tonight, something a little different. I want to mix you a cocktail. And after mixing said cocktail, I want to tell you a story. First, the cocktail. This is a little something called the Harlem Nights. For those nights where you find yourself in Harlem, going out and about, enjoying the town, maybe with a certain special someone, and you think to yourself, you know what? I want to take this night to the next level. The Harlem Nights involves a couple of key ingredients. First and most importantly, of course, a little bottle of Henny, but not just any Henny, it's a Hennessy very special cognac. I got the very special brand because I'm very special going, and don't you forget it. We're going to take a little bit of this delectable cognac along with a jigger, which has double side. One is 1 ounce, the other 0.5. We're going to take about 1.5 more or less to pour into a shaker. The thing about mixology is you can play around with the ingredients just a little bit. Not everything has to be perfect, but the feelings and the vibes themselves have to be just right. Next up is a sweet vermouth, or any kind of really sweet wine will work for this cocktail, really. Another ounce, pouring right into the shaker, like so. Very nice. They're going to take a little bit of lemon juice. You could get the fancy smancy type that the bartenders use, or the type you get at the supermarket. I really don't give a damn, love. We'll take about half, so 0.5 of an ounce. We're going to pop it right here. Make sure you get a nice squeeze in. There we go. Pop it right in. And then also a little grenadine or grapefruit juice, depending on your predilections. I got the fancy bar stuff because it was on the cheap this week. Also about 0.5. Now you might be wondering, why are we mixing a drink themed after Harlem? Well, I'll tell you. When I first came over from Puerto Rico, I first lived in Harlem, in Manhattan, New York City. And being a new kid on the block, far and away from home, I didn't know much about my community here in the diaspora. I lived the first 18 years of my life in San Juan, Puerto Rico, where I was born and raised. And there was this little center, maybe you've heard of it, the Schomburg Center, right there in Harlem. Now, being new to the area, I of course wanted to check that out. And I found a great opportunity to do so. Specifically, for a comic book event, because I, of course, I'm a giant nerd, if you haven't
No.
Now, the thing about this event is that you go to the Schomburg, and they have a little gift shop there. And while I was there at that gift shop, I found the most interesting little book a biography of Arthur Alfonso Schoenberg. Now, this was interesting because the Schoenberg Center I recognized as a center of Black art, history, and literature. What I wasn't aware of when I popped this book open is that Arthur Schoenberg was also Puerto Rican. Actually, the first person to coin the term Afro-Boricua. And I was intrigued because this far away from home, I had found a little piece of home, but a piece of home in exile. Let me share with you a little excerpt from the book, specifically from Schoenberg's childhood, specifically his experience of class and race in Puerto Rico. Whether it occurred as he told family, friends, and colleagues in an elementary school classroom or during a hurtful encounter in San Juan, Arturo became aware of racism fairly early in life. His 5th grade teacher is said to have told him that Black people have no history, no heroes, no great moments, and because of that remark, young Arturo became fired with an ambition to find the evidence of his people's past. He left Puerto Rico due to the bullshit, specifically the anti-Black racial bullshit that was all around their culture growing up. And when he landed in Harlem, he began to collect every imaginable piece of Black literature that he could get his hands on in order to show evidence that the African diaspora across the world had contributed to the arts, to culture, and to justice. His library is what became the foundation for the Schoenberg Center, which then became part of the New York Public Library system. Now, as moving as that story of resilience was, I had to check myself, because if your eyes don't betray you, growing up in Puerto Rico, race was a silent subject, particularly for those of us who were light-skinned, ambiguously brown, or white like myself. That the stories and struggles of our Afro-Puerto Riqueño brothers and sisters were often not part of the story. And often, many stories like those of Arturo would come up time and again in my time here. Folks who had left the island because there was simply no room to breathe. So, I want to share this with you, not just in order to celebrate Arturo Alfonso Schoenberg's legacy, but also to check ourselves and each other for when we don't create space for all of our brothers and sisters, not just in the Puerto Rican diaspora, but the Latin American world broadly. So let's cheers to that. To our ancestors, but especially those that we gave no room in our homelands. So, cheers. Wow, it's actually my first time trying it. It's a pretty good cocktail. Isa, if you wouldn't mind sending me over to camera 1, if you please, so we can introduce our feature. Thank you.
No problem. Give it up once again for D Bird, the mixologist. Now back to D Bird, the host. Welcome back, D Bird.
Okay, and I'm back again.
We have a multiple camera event this evening. That's beautiful, yo. I was not aware.
How best to get my best and most beautiful angle. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for engaging with a little bit of our history. But without further ado, I'd like to take this moment, yes, this precise moment, to welcome our feature, C-Joy Adams. C-Joy Adams is a multifaceted autodidactic artist. She believes in love and art as tools of radical change in the world. Dedicated to the liberation of Black and Brown people everywhere, Joy creates spiritually minded, visual, written, and musical works that explore and expose the humanity of Black people. Between her world travels, she is based in Brooklyn, racing her revolutions, children, and working on her 3rd book, Blah, Volume 3, The Secret Life of Clouds. Find out more about her and her work at www.thegodis.art. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to C-Joy Adams.
Hello, 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 hello. Hey. Hello, 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 hello. Oh, I just messed up something else. Hello, 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 hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Can
can.
We got you, girl.
Out and clear. Oh.
Awesome. I'm so excited about this. I'm really excited and honored and all the good things that life could be right now, especially to be here. Uh-oh, I just messed up my own video setup. We all got moods, juggling all the hats. Hi. Oh, can I ask everyone to just breathe with me for a second? Thank you so much. So I am C. Joy Adams. Now I formerly C. Joy Sanchez. As long as you see Joy, I don't really care what you call me. It always means a lot to me when D-Bird invites me to do things because he's been here from, my beginnings when I was like initially sowing my seeds and I had just got the shovel to start digging into myself. And he just took me to different places and, all the good things that people do. So I designed my set to be accompanied by a guitar player who I guess got busy with his other gig. So that's life. And we just keep moving, right? Right. I can't see y'all. So I hope you're enjoying this and you're here with me. I feel like we all did breathe and we're all breathing.
Here with you.
Yeah, we're here. So instead, what I've been figuring out is, how I'm always wondering as an artist, how do I make my ancestors proud? Because I am their wildest dreams. Everything that happens in my life right now, everything that I've ever done, my ancestors for so many generations never even had the thought to do or attempt. To be so Black and act with so much caucasity, they would, what? No, girl. So I'm learning a lot about myself, and I'm learning that I'm a lot of things. I'm learning that I love exploring the Blackness that I am. I love that everybody on this planet is Black. It's just some of us don't know it yet. So lately I've been going by the notorious RBJ, which stands for Radical Black Joy. And I have other words for the R's and the J's and even for the B. But for right now, I'm staying with Radical Black Joy until we collectively normalize Black joy. Like it's not a radical or revolutionary thing for me to be living my best life. And it shouldn't be for any human being on the earth, So I'm gonna start tonight's journey with a reading from my first book, which I published in 2015. You can still find it on Amazon and on my website. I'll drop my links later. So this one's called Osho Taught Me. He wasn't the one that got away. He's the one she never even had. Her white whale, elusivity, fuel chased of stubborn passion. It shouldn't have been a surprise when she made a dick of herself in the sake of him. For his heart of he art. Her long lost lover, he seemed to have loved her. He seemed to have loved her unlike any other had ever done in her lifetime. When it appeared that no others did, he became everything she needed, everything she thought she wanted. So she did it. She loved him, spread her arms wide, opened her mouth, tilting her head back as she inhaled him, dope leaning off at each hit of his brown candy crush. She couldn't kick the addiction. She lived in him, died within. Daily focus on what more she could give would be enough to justify the weight dropping like dollars in an Atlanta strip club. Rapidly and often, she found herself caught up in debating the disparity between love and their current reality, questioning if love is a curse, a burden, a constant perpetuation of anger and mounting resentment, a reason to be spiteful, smashing dishes, a hard shove against the wall at 6 months, a hand wrapped around the throat while children watch from their cribs? Nah, no, 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 no. Her heart told her, this is not what love is. This is everything that love isn't. Control, possession, a jaded heart acting on the pain of old calluses, picking at the scabs until he bleeds again, till she bleeds again. She's not bleeding again. And he didn't listen, but neither did she. They maintained the illusion, stretching the canvas of their lives into the thinnest of truths, painting over the flaws of their delusions. The time they wasted insisting on kidding themselves, appearing around town as happy couples should do, as they would do if they were still in love with each other, instead of four wandering eyes that never seem to land on one another till the drinks kick in. A singular truth echoes between them. There is no fighting this addiction, so you might as well give into it. So I'm not gonna lie. I published another book during the beginning of the pandemic, and I'm not really a fan of it. So I'm just gonna show it to y'all. It's volume 2. It's Blah Volume 2. A long time ago, I had an idea to create a series of books, like just turn all of my writings, because I've been writing forever, into a series of books just called Blah, Blah, Blah. Because I started writing on paper lines, on lines. And now, like, as an artist, as a writer, I have to transfer that to a digital space. And what I do in the real world kind of doesn't matter as much, even though I know it matters more. Somebody felt that, like right here. So with that being said, the other thing I got to publish during the pandemic, so I actually I published 2 books. I was published twice last year, once by myself and once by this wonderful photographer, Amy Touchette, who found me through a group on Facebook. And the book is called Personal Ties. It's a lot of her photographs, or street photography of people that live in the neighborhood of Bed-Stuy that she's lived in for a while. And there's stories behind this, but like I'm so thankful to have had this essay put in here. So I'm gonna read y'all an essay, and that'll kind of count as the second book as well, since the 2 books were published in the same year. And this book is in the MoMA. So through the power of Facebook, I have accomplished something on my bucket list. I just, you got to share your joy with others. You don't know who needs your happy. So the name of this essay is called Reflection Eternal. It's midwinter 2021, and I'm sitting on a stoop listening. I'm sitting on a stoop listening to the whispers of our ancestors in the wind. I could still hear my grandmother call after me playing tag outside of Siloam Presbyterian Church. After Sunday service, My friends and I ran circles around the gathered adults in our Sunday shoes. I loved the spectacle of haberdashery of the deacons and deaconesses and other elders down to their white gloves and statement hats. My whole childhood, my well-meaning grandparents said the ghetto was no place for a young lady. And by all their criteria, Bed-Stuy was the ghetto. It's why they had me test out and bust to Canarsie for elementary and junior high school rather than let me attend any school in my zone. During my childhood, I lived with my grandparents at one of their houses in either Crown Heights or Bed-Stuy until I was about 11. Siloam Church and my grandpa's home on Lewis, his home office on Lewis and Bainbridge were all I knew of Bed-Stuy and the only blocks where I was allowed to roam free. Despite half my family living in Marcy Projects, if it wasn't either of these two places, it wasn't safe for a young lady like myself. So said the news, so said the rumors, and common Brooklyn knowledge. While we lived on Carroll Street and Brooklyn Avenue, my grandfather kept working out of his home office on Lewis and Bainbridge until his retirement and into his late 80s. That house is where my grandfather lived since arriving here from Barbados as a kid in the 1930s. He moved to Carroll Street when my mom was born, but kept a home office on the ground floor at Lewis Avenue. And I spent every Saturday, and post-Sunday service afternoon playing in the small patio area with the gates while he worked on cases inside. The upper floors were rented for a more than reasonable rate for the time to extended family and friends who moved to America from the islands, because that's what we do, Black folk. We take care of each other. After my grandparents passed, I moved to Bed-Stuy with my mom, who was committed as my grandma to keeping me a lady, repeating the choices to have to ride me into the city rather than attend Boys and Girls High School a few blocks from our apartment. Daily, she would tell me not to talk to any of these hoodlums and hooligans in the street as my womanhood continued to develop and draw their attention. Hold your head high and ignore them, she'd say. When I told her how the boys would call me a stuck-up, ibbity-ass bitch because I wouldn't give them the time of day to keep their game to me who was going somewhere. I couldn't afford to get distracted by boys. There we go. As a teenager who had no interest in having the black beaten off of me, I stayed within the bounds of my blocks. The only exception to my confinement being my favorite uncle's house on Lewis Avenue and Kosciuszko Street. And damn right, it's pronounced Kosciuszko by all the old school Brooklyn natives, because that's what it's always been. That's when I first learned that there's no difference between socioeconomic classes of Black people. We're all under pressure to be better than the last generation. Each one of us is born into responsibility and accountability in a world painted with the white gaze in mind. We were raised to always be aware of how to act or not act, what to say or not say, how to dress or not dress in order for others to accept and respect us. Both our family and the whole hood was counting on us to make it out alive and make something of ourselves for the benefit of the whole family. Coming of age in Brooklyn in the 90s as the war on drugs left the crack epidemic and single parent households in its wake, we were the collateral damage of being Black back then. The way the world was set up, and to some extent still is, these streets were a gauntlet for those of our skin. Bed-Stuy, do or die was a trial by fire type of place. It forced you to learn for yourself. When you were raised and living in a skin that made you inherently targeted more often than not, we learned to keep it moving, never allowing ourselves to settle too much into the tenements that housed us, or as some say, caged us, developing a pipeline from the birth canal direct to the prison system. Even with the insistence that slavery ended hundreds of years ago, that we've now had a Black president and live in a so-called post-racial society, in the 90s, our blocks still look like Jim Crow, with rows of abandoned houses and storefronts and dilapidated sidewalks, but we danced on them anyway. Summer block parties kept and still keep our pulses pumping till sunrise most nights. We couldn't help but to rise no matter the circumstances, having been raised to do the right thing. beating back all challenges in our path by holding each other up when the world seems to want to keep our Black down. We didn't back down. It was do or die in the sty and all like environments. It was do or die in the sty and every place like it. An environmental Obi-Wan Kenobi making Luke out of all of us. I haven't sat on a stoop in a while, not since I lived on Hancock Street and Tompkins Avenue, waiting for the birth of my first child. Nightly, as the weather allowed, the air would whisper back the words of James Baldwin. I have to be optimistic because I am alive. Each star was an omen of certainty that I had made the right choice moving back to the sty in 2007, just when the neighborhood was changing and suddenly the only place everybody wanted to be. Gentrification made Bed-Stuy a cosmic joke on how things can so easily change over time and how adaptable Black is. What once wasn't good for us or to us is suddenly dubbed the best stuff on earth. And what was once dangerous and off limits is now the creative and cultural center of one of the greatest cities in the world. It's the rhythm and blues of being Black, and it's also the beauty of it. Until this pandemic hit, I had never had the chance to stop moving long enough to be depressed or exhausted from the daily work of living while Black. The veil being so thin between planes of existence, our ancestors are settled here. They support us in the hardest moments of our lives yet. I teach my children to hear them when we sit in the park on Lewis and Fulton Street, across from my family's old house. I tell them stories of what used to be here and still is, doing my best to pass on the lessons of Bed-Stuy. When the weather's nice, my daughter and I take long walks admiring the architecture, like my mom walked with me as she passed on the nuances of being both Black and woman in this world. They're coming of age now and contemplating their identity. We talk about the resilience to be found in community and how wondrous it can be to be Black. The beauty of our minds reflected in the sunset. I assure them that there is nothing to fear when you know yourself, and that home is wherever you are loved. So please buy this book if you like this essay. There's also another essay by amazing, there's a great forward, and these photos are gorgeous, gorgeous photos. I don't care what anybody says, right? I have to share this story too. I got time. So this book was reviewed by Days Magazine, and they wrote a great article about it. And they praised my writing, which for me was a big deal. I've never been praised by like a magazine or like, you know, some place of, I mean, I've gotten my little nods, you know, but I've never had a magazine or like some literary review like that. So I was just like really excited. I'm like, oh shit, I got a press clipping. I'm on my way. And then some people on Twitter dragged the article, because the photographer, Amy, is white. She's a white woman and she's cool as fuck. Like, she's invited to the cookout. You know what I'm saying? I made her a hoodie to prove that, you know what I'm saying? So she knows I know she's on my team. Sorry. Now I have an audience here in my home, so I'm showing off a little bit. All right, so what I found to be the most disturbing thing is that there were a lot of people on this thread that were white photographers, just jumping on the bandwagon because it seemed like a great idea. And in this thread, no one actually mentions how she accurately captures the soul of people in her photographs. How you can look at them and you see all of them. You see their complexities. You like feel an energy off of, we all have pictures like that where it's like, wow, you really see a person. And I think she has that eye for catching people. So I stand by it. But what I also noticed is that it was only like 700 people, and none of them that were mad about it actually looked at the photographs or read any of the work written in the book. So with that being said, please buy this book or take it to a bookstore and ask for it and be like, yo, y'all got personal tax? Y'all should have that book. Just like help people out. Cause you know, that's a life hack, by the way. If you got a book and you go to the library, I'm sharing some life hacks right now. If you go to the library, you have a book and you request it, the library has to order that book. As long as you have the ISBN number, you can give it to them, they'll order it for you, and boom, that's how you get your book in a library. Use that. Yeah, boy. Yo, you gotta share the food. Like there's enough food for all of us to eat. Right. Boom, moving on. I got one or two. Now, this is my future work that is gonna be in my next book that I'm hoping to put out like summertime, like a birthday present to myself. And it's Blah Volume 3, The Secret Life of Clouds. This one is I wish I had it, the title, it's a working title, but I want to name it If I Learned My Magic Sooner, Maybe I Could Have Had Better Conversations with Myself. Dear young Joy, your body is not an apology. Stop giving it away to anyone who tells you you need to feel sorry for it or about it. What? Okay. Dear young Joy, your body is not an apology. Stop giving it away to anyone who tells you that they deserve it, or they tell you to feel sorry for it or about yourself. Your body is not a toy. Stop allowing people to play with it as children do, without instruction or care, until it is a broken thing of no further interest to be tossed aside. Your body is not a piece of furniture. Don't let just anyone or anything move you off your ground, or let them recklessly toss their unambiguous laundry on top of you until they have no time to deal with the mess that they created, and your OCD forces you to clean it up on their behalf. You are nobody's maid, and you are not their mama. Your body is not a taboo. Don't be afraid of it. Let yourself explore every inch of its terrain. Map it out with your mind until it's committed to muscle memory before you offer it access to outsiders. You got to remember, this is Sparta. Your body is not a sin. Don't let them shame you about how much or how little you use it. Whether it be used for your pleasure or purpose is your choice and your right, or at least it was. It will be again. It is always your right to use it or not, as you damn well please. Your body is not a side dish. Read side piece. Don't let them overlook you as if you do not or cannot meet their needs when they are malnourished. You're a main course. You're meant to be fawned over, appreciated, and applauded for all the work it took to create your luscious beauty. You deserve honor and gratitude for the nourishment that you provide. Your body is not a secret. Again, the choice to share it with others is yours and yours alone. Don't allow them to silence your voice into a whisper never to be heard. Don't allow their words or actions to make you fold, be shrunken small enough to fit into a box and hidden away in a corner unknown, in a world where you were obviously meant to be known, where you were obviously meant to shine, where you are obviously made to exist, being that it's a miracle to create life in the first place. And when it's obvious that all you got to do to impress or intimidate is exist. So live your best life and never apologize for it. That's it. I think I could squeeze in this last one. Is that okay? All right. I'm gonna assume that it is okay. Thank you. I feel your vibes. I appreciate you. I appreciate this so much. You have no idea how much y'all make my soul dance and sing and shine tonight, right? Like just by being able to listen to you, be in this room, and be in community with y'all. That's our most valuable resource. It's our ability to connect through distance and time. So this one is called What She Taught Me versus Autodidactism. In my heart, I knew I should not have called her, but I couldn't help it. I couldn't visit him and not call her, give her something to talk about, give her someone to talk to, give her the confirmation that she is not alone in what may just be the last days, weeks, months, or year of her life. And as usual, she sticks to the script of old. The trudge uphill is arduous. And so she remains silent for as much time as it takes her to reach the peak, the opening in the bush that leads to a glimpse of the endless horizon, illuminating only the good parts of her past and all of my former shadows. Unwittingly, I follow her up this trail of silence, chatting away, unaware that I was being set up for a fight. And then she tried it, tried me, tried to tell me I have always been the problem, tried to throw any and every negative attribute I once owned at me as the source of my current woes, tried to criticize my motherhood as if she was any better, tried to say I was selfish like my daddy, but not like her, who only kept me as a pawn or meal ticket or city benefit or any of the other ways that mothers use children to continue to hurt the men that no longer love them, the men that she pushed away, the men that she lied about. Tried to tell me she never lied to me when we all know that admitting the truth is another form of lying. Tried to tell me I was born wanting, without patience, said I was barely able to speak, taking items from my grandpa's pockets, and apparently no one, please read this as no one would, but no one could stop me. She never tried to stop me until my ambitions inspired me to follow in her footsteps, but on my own path, in my own way. It's a night I've never forgotten. I was 13, about to be 15. No, I was 14, about to be 15. Filling out my high school application forms. It was late, like after 12 a.m. It took me forever to decide where I wanted to go. At the end of the day, all of my choices were performing arts high schools. Back then, a parent's signature was required to be submitted. She refused to sign it, put $2 in my hand, and sent me out into the night to search for a store with whiteout. After walking from Buffalo and St. John's to Utica and Eastern Parkway without the luck of an open bodega, I hopped the train to my grandmother's house on Carroll Street and Brooklyn Avenue. I was still wearing my pajamas and my coat. My grandmother answered the door with a look of excitement, concern, and curiosity at the sight of her granddaughter standing on the porch in her cotton nightgown and Columbia jacket at almost 1 a.m. Whatever her actual thoughts or worries were, she opened the door in her arms to receive me with the love I had been missing out. I had been missing during the previous 2 years that I spent living with my mother. I remember her holding me in that hug for what seemed like an eternity, although it was probably only about 2 minutes. From there, she immediately ushered me to the bed with her, the same bed my 6-year-old self would crawl into on nights when I couldn't bear to sleep alone. As a child, I would make myself cozy between her and my grandfather and always magically wake up in my own bed the next day. After Grandpa's stroke, I became a residential sleeper on his side of the bed since he slept down in the foyer in his hospital-issued bed. I hadn't been asleep more than 2 hours and awake to the frantic ringing of the doorbell, followed by incremental interjections of my mother's yelling from the top step of the porch. She had come for me. It was a while of back and forth, but eventually my grandmother sent me back. And when I got home, I paid for my defiance. She eventually signed the application, but only after I had chosen the few schools I thought I could stomach. I tell her this story, and she tries to tell me how my son is lazy or rather unwilling to do the work it takes for his ambition to become viable success. Because I was the same way. She says, I didn't want to put the work in. She says, I choose to do stupid shit, referring to the boy that tricked me into giving up my virginity the year before. She tries to make it seem like my friends, the ones I eventually made and are still friends with now, some 20 or so years later, influenced me to waste my time and talent. She says my job is not a job. She says that I wasn't responsible as I thought I was. She says I never wanted to take responsibility for anything I do or have done. She says I've always thrown tantrums when I don't get my way, and circles back to bash my motherhood one more time, just for kicks. Ooh. And this whole time I'm silent. I accept it. Whittle away her arguments with uh-huhs and okays until there's an opening for the one and only question that I wish her to answer and truly reflect on. And where do you think I learned that behavior from? She repeats the question as if she couldn't hear me, perched up on her high horse. I mirror her response and ask a second time. And where do you think I learned that behavior from? Tongue-tied and running out of ways to deflect attention away from her lack of accountability to me, her child, she shifts into redirection and deflection. The constant pivot away from herself does not shake my resolve. I ask the question again. And again, she tries my fortitude. She tries my peace. She tries to excuse herself while shitting on me. She says, seeing it's time to break out the defense, she says, I'm being disrespectful by asking such a thing, that I never listen. She says that I'm always looking for someone else to blame for my faults, that I need to be less disrespectful and more grateful for all the lessons she taught me. And for the moment, I entertain the idea that she might be right in her own way, that perhaps it's not her fault that her child became a selfish, ambitious, willful, resilient, stubborn, impatient, manipulative, cold-hearted bitch. She taught me how to play all the games, and she did teach me how to hustle. She did teach me to do whatever is necessary for my survival unapologetically and without regret. She taught me that if I don't fight, then I will never win. She taught me that my beauty was non-existent and my body was a weapon to be wielded to my advantage. She taught me that everybody's a sucker waiting to get got. She taught me to focus on my goals means forgetting everyone outside of me unless they're necessary to my success. She taught me I'd never be as beautiful as her. She taught me to be seen and not heard. She taught me to think but never speak. She taught me that the minute I open my mouth, I lose all value. She taught me that it's more important to sacrifice yourself for the greater good, even if it keeps you being mediocre. She taught me that my ideas are stupid and my dreams are useless. She taught me that I was made to serve. She taught me that the money I earn can and will always be expected to replace someone else's income. She taught me that people choose to do or be better on their own time. She taught me that if I don't follow orders or advice, that I will only fail. She taught me that I will always fail when I try. She taught me that I will always need to prove myself to someone to be worthy of existing. She taught me that an A- or an A will never be as good as an A+. She taught me that even my best is not good enough. She taught me that she will always be bigger, better, badder than me. She taught me that I should not ask for help, but I should expect the man to support me. She taught me that love is for suckers. And she taught me that how I feel doesn't matter. She taught me that I should stop calling her for anything, because what I'm learning is she doesn't even know me at all. So thank you so much to everybody that's here with me, that I shared your light with me, with us. Esquina, like I miss being able to hug y'all, but I feel like we're hugging each other right now. And I thank you for allowing me to, light my light, share my light with y'all.
Thank you.
Very intense time.
I don't want to interrupt you. I just need to say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm really, really humbled by this still late. And
I had to turn my light off. I had to share this space as much as I could with you. I was like, I'm gonna let my candle burn. I'm gonna just vibe it with you. And thank you.
Thank y'all for having me. I'm here. I'm just in the background because I need to take care of some things in my crib. But I'll drop my links in a minute. I don't know how much longer we're gonna be here.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up one more time for the ever so amazing Joy the Goddess. Folks, thanks so much for sharing with us tonight. Thank you once again to Joy, to all the open micers, to each and every one of you in the audience enjoying this show, both present and through the stream. Now, I want to turn it back over to our cacique of caciques for some announcements about next month's reading. Mario, take it away. Unmute yourself, Mario. There you go.
So thank you to everybody for coming through. Joy, thank you for your work. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who read at the open mic. So next month we're celebrating we're 2 years old. We're bratty. We like touching everything. We're doing whatever the hell we want because we're 2 years old now.
Daddy, what does this knob do on this stove thing? And can I turn it to high?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
We're 2 years old. So next month we're celebrating our 2-year anniversary. It is a pleasure to have Fly Vida with us because she was actually my first feature. So thank you for stopping by, sis. So we will keep everyone up to date, let you guys know who's featuring. But please come back. And thank you again. Buenas noches.